To the women who have served on active duty when the world was at war, let this memorial stand as testimony. Those who shouldered the demands of quieter times, to all women who have protected and defended this nation. Let it serve to enhearten women who faithfully serve in our military today.
Welcome each of you, and thank you for joining us on this, our 23rd observance of Veterans Day and our first virtual. I am retired Army Chief Warrant Officer 5, Phyllis Wilson, the president of the Military Women's Memorial, and it's my honor today to preside over this Veterans Day observance. This is the one program in the Washington, D.C. area, and perhaps in the entire country, that each year not only celebrates America's veterans, but specifically pays tribute to our active duty, Guard, and Reserve service women and women veterans. I thank you all for joining us to pay tribute to America's military women, past and present. This day is also a time to reflect as we commemorate the 102nd anniversary of what was supposed to be the war to end all wars, World War I. More than 4.3 million Americans were mobilized. Among them, for the first time, were some 35,000 military women, and it was these 35,000 women who were the catalyst for the passage of the 19th Amendment, granting women the right to vote. No longer could it be argued that women did not fulfill the duties of a citizen through military service. In 2020, this year, is the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. Today also marks the 27th anniversary of the Vietnam Women's Memorial dedication, our sister memorial across the river, which honors the 7,500 uniformed women who served in theater during the Vietnam War. And today, in 1865, Dr. Mary Edwards Walker, a Civil War physician and U.S. Army's first female surgeon, was awarded the Medal of Honor. Dr. Walker is the only woman recipient in history of our nation's highest award. And lastly, today is the grand opening of the National Museum of the United States Army, located just down the road at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. And we look forward to working with the museum in coming months and years. So while 2020 has been a difficult year, we can say November 11th is a day to commemorate the historical events of this day. But more importantly, it is a date to celebrate and honor America's 17.4 million veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. And in the spirit of celebration, we'll be asking you to join us with toasts to our fellow veterans. So have your glasses charged and ready with your beverage of choice. At the memorial's groundbreaking ceremony in June of 1995, 25 years ago, a tradition began of having a servicewoman or woman veteran from each of the services speak. Why? Because our memorial, we pay tribute individually and collectively to all of the women who have or do serve. And who better to speak to them about them than one of their own? We are privileged to have 7 of those female patriots join us today and help celebrate our fellow shipmates, battle buddies, devil dogs, and veterans. First is our soon to be retired United States Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel Jeanette Haney. She will help us celebrate by setting the stage and speaking about Veterans Day and her personal reflections on its meaning and impact. Colonel Haney is a Naval Academy graduate and Cobra attack helicopter pilot. She earned a PhD in international relations from the George Washington University and has served on the Joint Staff and Marine Corps Commandant's think tank, focusing on gender, warfighting, peace, leadership, and security. She has been a senior fellow with the Women in International Security, also a member of the Presidential Leadership Scholars Class of 2019, and founder and executive director of the Athena Leadership Project, a female veteran-focused project addressing gender, leadership, and national security. Colonel Haney will be followed by a currently or formerly serving woman representing each service who will lead us in a toast to the women and men of that service. Joining us today for the first time is a representative of the U.S. Space Force, our newest service. Colonel Haney, we welcome your remarks.
Thank you so much, Phyllis. It's a real pleasure to be here and to be in this company today, honoring Veterans Day and honoring veterans, particularly women veterans. So it's going to be tough to follow your remarks, but I will do my best. First, I want to give you a brief history of Veterans Day. It started as a celebration at the end of World War I and has since become a time set aside to honor all American veterans. Originally called Armistice Day, celebrated for the first time on November 11th, 1919, exactly 1 year to the day after the shooting stopped in Europe. To mark the moment, churches held special services and soldiers paraded, and people across the country observed 2 minutes of silence in remembrance of soldiers who had lost their lives. Similar ceremonies were held in England and France. Armistice Day was officially named by Congress in 1926, becoming a national holiday 12 years later. The armistice, unfortunately, did not live up to the hope that there would never be another world war, as we all know. In 1954, to honor veterans of every conflict, President Eisenhower signed a bill to change Armistice Day to Veterans Day. It has long been a Veterans Day tradition for observances to be held in each state with parades, patriotic ceremonies, and the display of flags. From that awesome day at the end of World War I, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, came a special day of observance of all the women and men, living and dead, who took up arms in defense of America. And the Women's Memorial, too, has become a traditional site for observing this day for all veterans. I struggled a bit with what to say today when Phyllis asked me to speak, because who am I to speak in this role? My experiences and memories are uniquely my own, and my thoughts on this day don't line up with what I have traditionally heard at ceremonies around the nation. Veterans Day and Memorial Day are different holidays, and it is in many ways impossible for me to separate the two fully. For a long time, my thoughts on Veterans Day have turned to the knowledge that Veterans Day has, for years, celebrated the men who have served for this country to keep us free. But when I think of veterans today and Veterans Day, I think of an incredible tapestry of images and memories and ideas. I think of my great uncle, George Blaze Dittman, who enlisted in the Marine Corps the minute he could, stretching himself, the family legend goes, on the foot of his clawfoot bathtub to make the minimum height. And he shipped off to the Pacific and died on Iwo Jima in March of 1945. One of my greatest experiences as a Marine was to be able to go to Iwo Jima and climb up to the top and look at the expanse of the island wearing my Marine Corps uniform. I think of my grandfather and my husband's grandfathers who deployed to Asia and Europe for years at a time during World War II. I think of my Uncle George, an Army infantryman who was injured in Vietnam. Friends of my father's who served in Vietnam, one in particular who was imprisoned as a prisoner of war. Then I start to think of my own memories and friends, and then the thoughts become incredibly rich. Instead of coming through with the sepia tone tints that we often associate with events in the past, my thoughts are rich and filled with the spectrum of color. The tans, browns, and greens of our uniforms, the color of sweat and blood, the gray of aircraft and vehicles, the color of the hair on the many women veterans who I've served with, The blacks of weapons, the hugs, the tears, the love, the confusion, the anger, the range of emotions, experiences, and lasting legacies of war. I think of the friends I've had who we've lost: Mike Martino, Jerry Bloomfield, Jen Harris, Brad Walters, Ian Brinkley, and so many others that I cannot sit here and list, or I will exceed my allotted time. And I think many of us have similar ideas. I think of the men and women who we have lost operationally into suicide. And then I think of the complex ways that war touches us all and how to think about that and describe it for a ceremony like today's. And more, I think about the women who I've had the privilege to meet and grow to know. I think of my sisters from the Naval Academy and from the Marine Corps, of the women who for so long I did not feel free to connect with. And I think of what I've grown to understand over the past few years, the resilience that so many of us embody. When we think about female veterans or talk about female veterans, what I come back to today is how absolutely amazingly, beautifully resilient we are all. We survive and we thrive in what can be an incredibly harsh environment. The work ethic that veterans develop, especially women veterans, is powerful. The way we tackle problems with creative, overwhelmingly creative solutions, the persistence and endurance, the art of rising to a challenge. Veterans embody that. Female veterans in particular positively shine at it. I am humbled by the power, persistence, empathy, grace, and strong and creative leadership, the commitment to service of all kinds embodied by the women who I've gotten to know. And all of these thoughts and feelings come rushing together at this time of year. Every October, or most October for years, I would line up at the Marine Corps Marathon wearing a shirt on my back with the names of the friends we've lost. That list got longer every year, but every year at the start of the marathon, wearing that shirt with 26.2 miles of pavement and pain spread out ahead of me, blue skies above and leaves of every color in the air, I would get completely overwhelmed with gratitude. And that's how I feel right now. That gratitude for the privilege of knowing the veterans I've known, for the privilege of serving with them, for the privilege of living in this country and having a strong and healthy body to carry me 26.2 miles, however slowly as the years go on. Overwhelmed with the distance ahead of me and with the knowledge that we are all in this together and it has been a gift. I stand there every year and cry tears of gratitude and all kinds of emotions at the start. And then those tears would be replaced by the firm conviction that this life, opportunity, and existence will not be wasted and will be spent for good. So in closing, that's what I want to leave you all with. I want to leave you with my gratitude for the opportunity to do this, to serve, to be a veteran, and to work with the amazing men and women of our armed services, to grow resilience and use it for good. And I think today, especially today, of all days, in the middle of what has been a fraught year for so many of us, how the tapestry of America is inextricably linked with the lives of our veterans, and I am grateful beyond words. Now it's time for a woman from each of the services, women who have served or are serving today, to say a few remarks about Veterans Day and to raise a toast in celebration of Veterans Day. Thank you.
Oh, it is truly an honor to be a part of today's celebration. My name is Yolandria Dixon Carter, and I am a Chief Warrant Officer 5 serving in the United States Army. I am a native of Gifford, Florida, and I enlisted in the Army from Medina, New York. My career has provided multiple opportunities of service, to include multiple combat tours to Panama, Somalia, and Iraq, as well as to serve in Korea and Belgium, as well as with the 10th Mountain Division out of Fort Drum, New York, and the 3rd Infantry Division out of Fort Stewart, Georgia. It has been an amazing career. I'm currently serving as the Assistant Executive Officer and the Senior Warrant Officer Advisor to the Chief of Staff of the Army, General James C. McConville. And in January 2021, I will have 32 years of military service. I am so grateful to the men and women, past and present, of the United States Army who has laid a foundation for me to serve, and so many others. So I want to raise my glass to those men and women who have sacrificed so much for service to our Army. Thank you. People first, winning matters, Army strong.
I am retired Master Sergeant Regina Stratford, and my hometown is in Arlington, Virginia. It is my pleasure to be here today to acknowledge and honor American veterans. I proudly served in the United States Marine Corps for 20 years, from 1981 to 2001. I was initially trained in the supply and logistics field and was later selected for a college degree completion program, which enabled me to achieve my accounting degree. I have the fondest memories of serving with the Marines from all walks of life in various organizations, from Marine Air Control Squadrons to amphibious assault units. The technical and leadership skills continue to follow me through my many successful endeavors today. I give honor to the early trailblazers like Opha Mae Johnson, who was the first woman Marine to serve in 1918, and also to the women of today who continue to be trailblazers of many firsts as opportunities continue to expand for women Marines. And so today, I would like to raise a toast to the women and men of the United States Marine Corps, past and present, Semper Fi.
Good evening. Thank you all for allowing me the honor and privilege to be part of this year's Veterans Day event. I am Master at Arms Chief Petty Officer Angela Young. I've been in the world's finest Navy for 19 years, and I'm a native of Springfield, Ohio. Go Buckeyes. I was a military working dog handler for 14 years prior to my current assignment as a security officer at Naval Support Activity Bethesda, home of Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, who provides critical care to our wounded warriors. Over the course of my time, I've served all over the world: Bahrain, Crete, Florida, Georgia, Texas, just to name a few. As a military working dog handler, I had 2 deployments, both with the Army, one to Iraq and one to Afghanistan. I met some of the finest women service members I've ever had the pleasure of serving with while I was deployed, who embodied the Navy Corps values of honor, courage, and commitment. These brave women added to our rich heritage as women serving in leadership and combat roles. I've met amazing veterans who served in the past, true American heroes who forged the path for generations. I am thankful for their service and their mentorship. Today, I would like to raise my glass and make a toast to the men and women veterans, past and present, and remember those veterans who are no longer with us, who paid the ultimate sacrifice. You will never be forgotten. To our Navy, may it always float. Go Navy, beat Army.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Misty Sullivan, United States Air Force, retired. I served in the greatest Air Force for 20 years and retired this past July, now living in Alexandria, Virginia. In the past 20 years, I lived in 5 different places all over the country and deployed to 3 different locations, including Iraq, Afghanistan, and Liberia. I was probably like many young women that I originally joined the military for the college scholarship, planned on separating out at the earliest opportunity. However, I discovered so many amazing people, places, and projects that I stayed because I realized this was a once-in-a-lifetime adventure and I truly valued the mission. The Air Force gave me the opportunity to run the launch countdown at Cape Canaveral, to design a software upgrade for the F-22, and work with 11 international partners on the F-35 program and many more amazing missions. However, the one thing I love the most about the Air Force and my career was the instant village that military members create wherever they land, especially during deployments. But in the end, when I thought I figured out this whole military thing, I ended my career during the craziness of the pandemic and rediscovered how America's Air Force continues to deliver in a changing environment. All of us veterans understand that even as COVID rages on, the mission continues. And that places additional requirements and sacrifices on our troops. The men and women of the United States Air Force continue to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace. Female veterans are on the front lines, our first responders, our homeschool champions, and are the critical enablers in how the Air Force does the impossible every day. Today is a day to honor those accomplishments to the men and women of the United States Air Force. And I'm old school, so aim high.
Good day, everyone. My name is Rachel Alessi. I'm a captain in the United States Space Force. I appreciate the opportunity to listen and speak with these women in service. As a child of the Army, I considered Patch Barracks, Germany, amongst other military bases, home. 6 years ago, I joined the Air Force as a command and control operator in the space career field in the Air Force. 2 months ago, I officially transferred into the Space Force, along with my other 13 S's and 1 Charlie 6's. I'm trained as a military satellite communications operator out of Schriever Air Force Base, Colorado, under the 4th Space Operations Squadron and the 50th Operations Support Squadron. I worked under Milstar and AHF, as well as Discus and WGS platforms. Today, I work in Virginia in the National Capital Region, and I'm here to toast to those women and men presently serving in the Space Force and those to join us in the future. Sempra Supra, always above.
Hello, I am Chief Petty Officer Sarah Pritchett of the United States Coast Guard. It is my pleasure to be here today, and thank you for the opportunity to be part of this Veterans Day celebration. I am currently in my 20th year of active duty with the Coast Guard. I am a gunner's mate and also a cutterman. I have been stationed in multiple units throughout my time of service, from small boat stations, cutters, and Coast Guard headquarters, to name a few. I am currently serving as the recruiter in charge of the office in Oklahoma City. I am a native to Arizona and have the honor of following in my father's footsteps, who was also a Coastie. I am thankful for my military family and those who have supported me along the way. I raise my mug to all the women and men of the United States Coast Guard, past, present, and future. Semper Paratus.
Thank you all for your great words. It's funny, myself included, I signed up for 4 years, thought that would be the end of it, and did 37. Because this kinship, this family, this village that we all have is just an incredible thing. So I want to thank you all. This concludes our program. Our sincere thanks to Lieutenant Colonel Jeanette Haney for setting the stage for all of us to celebrate and to remember the service and sacrifice of our fellow veterans. And our heartfelt thanks goes out to the amazing service representatives for your participation and for your celebration of service of your fellow service members. We appreciate you being here, and thank you for giving your time on Veterans Day holiday to pay tribute to all of our veterans, past and present. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe and well. Happy Veterans Day.